What's up, guys? It's Break Shift, and I'm back with another fun deck. Evo just wrapped up this last weekend, so I figure, let's play some fighting games since we just got a cool new guest character revealed for Vanquish Soul, and that's Zoodiac Vanquish. So, what do the Zoo cards do for Vanquish Soul? Well, they do two main things. They both boost the power level of the deck, like the ceiling, and they also actually increase consistency. Consistency is a bit of an issue right now for Vanquish Soul because they are still suffering for the sins of the canine cards. We've lost several starters. We are down one Raisin, we're down two Stake Your Soul, and we're missing a Jowlong, which all of that hurts quite a bit. It's a lot harder to get your plays off the ground now. So unless you want to play something like a Small World, pretty much the only easy way to grab Raisin is with Rhoda. But it turns out that you can actually find your way to Raisin with Zoodiac Barrage, because, of course, the typical Zoo combo makes a free rank 4, and we can make this guy, Battling Boxer King Dempsey. If he's special summoned, you get to add a Fire Warrior from your deck. So if you have your Barrage, you can do the typical Zoo play, where you ladder your way up, summoning rats from deck. You'll make Dempsey to search Raisin, and then you can use him with the Zoodiac rank 4 to make Utopic Draco Future. And then, of course, you can just normal summon Raisin, and you're off to the races for your Vanquish Soul plays, which is definitely a neat application, but I don't think it would really cut the mustard if that was all you were doing, because you have to play, of course, 3 Rat alongside your 3 Barrage. So if you can't get anywhere with normal summon Rat Pierre, then I think you're in trouble. But luckily, it turns out there's actually a really slick line that you can do to make normal summon Rat work just about the same as if you open Barrage. So what we're going to do to make normal summon Rat work out is the typical Zoo line, where we're making a free rank 4, but along the way, of course, we're going to stop by Broad Bowl, who gets to add any Beast Warrior. And Vanquish Soul has a Beast Warrior. It's Pantera, one of the worst ones that you usually don't see. But she's not completely terrible. She's got 2 effects that are mostly the relevant ones, which is on field, if you reveal an Earth and a Fire, she can non-targeting pop some back row, which is nifty. And in the hand, if you control no monsters in the main monster zone, she's a free special summon. And that effect ends up being the key to this all, because after we've gotten our Zoo guys out, we'll have searched Broad Bowl, search Pantera with Broad Bowl, and of course we'll still be making our Dempsey to add Raisin. Then, when we put the Zoodiac monster and the Dempsey together, we're going to make F-Zero, and we'll put him in the EMZ, and that'll be our only monster on the field at that time, which means that then we can summon the searched Pantera from hand before we then get the F-Zero out of the EMZ when we level him up into the UDF. And then we can turn Pantera into Rock of the Vanquisher to special summon the Raisin that we searched from our hand. So obviously it's not quite as good still, because you do have to dedicate the Rock effect to summon Raisin from hand, but it will basically get you most of the way there. I think it's actually quite strong. The Zoo cards are good at eating up some interactions. People like to hand trap stuff like Broad Bowl, which I think is a reasonable play most of the time, of course, but that can just clear the way for you to then commit your normal summon, or do something like, get Holly Sue on field to start your plays that way. And being able to have that negate on your end board is so nice, since that's not normally something that Vanquish Soul has access to. Of course, the Zoodiac monsters are Earths, which are a relevant attribute. So we're not going to play something like Kashtiras or like Ghost Bells or whatever. We've got the extra Earths that we can draw with the Rat Piers. And I am on the Rescue Ace lineup to get the extra Fires. If you aren't familiar with this, it's sort of a hand trap thing where during the main phase, or not during the main phase, when your opponent activates a monster effect on the field, you contribute this guy from your hand, and then you'll summon Fire Attacker from deck. And what he does is, if the opponent adds a card, you get to draw 2, discard 1. So it's some nice hand fixing. Obviously, you can use this to draw into other hand traps or Sue, or you can just use it to filter the attributes in your hand in order to get the correct ones. The only other potentially unusual thing here is that I am playing Continue. I think some people aren't on that, but I like it as an extender, as an alternate search target from Mad Love. Otherwise, this is pretty typical for the main deck Vanquish Soul stuff, as well as for the extra deck. Of course, we've got access to the Borbo Zeus line for going second, which is very strong. Technically, I'm playing one more Zoo than you technically need to do the basic combo, but this gives us the option if the opponent does something like Imperm on Broad Bowl. You can use the extra Zoo on top of him to still get the rat effect. And also sometimes you might end up in a situation where you just want to like end on a Trident or something, and then you can retain one of the other Zoos in the extra deck for later. So that's the core idea of the deck. I got a couple replays to show it off. I've been having a lot of fun with it. I really, really like Vanquish Soul, and I'm not so fond of the Canine cards, so this has become my new favorite way to play the deck. So a couple duels here in Diamond still. This is like the last day of the season, but we're up against some fairly competent decks here. I got 2 replays against Branded, which is a very good deck right now. So this opening hand is kind of terrible, but Rat Uncontested does just get us where we need to go, even though we did draw both the Fire Attacker and the Pantera. So this is the typical Zoo line if you're not familiar with it. We're just going to summon the Rat, put 2 guys that we don't care about down, and then we'll make the Broad Bowl. Now we can go the effect to summon Rat, making sure we don't detach the Rat. We would add Pantera there as well, but we already drew her, of course. So instead, we'll just level up to another guy we don't need, get the other Rat out. Dempsey can add. There's our Raisin. And at this point, the opponent drolls us, so it's actually kind of a nice thing that we drew the Pantera, because now we can still continue with the normal line, even though we wouldn't have been able to search her otherwise. So we throw her down, go ahead and free up the EMZ there, make ourselves rock, and obviously there's no point in summoning Raisin here since I can't add, so I'll just retrieve the Pantera from graveyard, make sure I have that Earth in hand, and we'll pass. The opponent starts out with normal summon Aluber, and I just decide to shotgun the negate here, because remember that UDF only negates monsters on the field, so I can't negate any of the in-hand effects, stuff like this, White Albaz. So he'll get the free summon there, activate, and I'm just going to try to cut him off as quickly as possible here. So I'm ashing the White Albaz, and then I'm also going to use Rock to line up Raisin in the same column, and then we'll pop him and the new chain. We add Borgers that we have a Dark to reveal, and we can tag out the Raisin if need be so that we ensure we have follow-up. He has an Ecclesia in hand, so he's going to tag into the regular Albaz and eats up 2 of my monsters. Gets to make a Dogma. Dogma effect, he's going to recycle his stuff. He goes to enter battle phase, and so I go ahead and retrieve my Raisin so that I can use him as follow-up, and I get some free burn damage here as well. Why not? He's already seen all these cards in my hand anyway. Borger bites the dust, and he's got a set card, and then main phase 3, he's going to get his Fallen and the Virtuous, and add back Ecclesia. So I have no Darks in hand currently, but we can fix that. I'm going to summon Raisin and add Mad Love. Now, I guess I maybe should have lined him up with Dogma so I could threaten the pop, but that's not the effect I want to use. I want to use this effect for this reason, which is Reveal Fire to make him indestructible. So that's going to keep him on the board. And he's going to use his Rindbrum here to bring back White Albaz. Nothing I can really do about that. Fallen the Virtuous resolves without destroying my Raisin. Halisu hits the field. I'm going to immediately use the Halisu as well here to summon for deck. Just in case, depending on which Ecclesia he gets here with his White Albaz, but he gets the regular one, and he's just going to add. So, nothing I need to be super worried about yet there. Jiaolong is going to reveal to add the field spell. And Ecclesia just gets him another copy of F and V. I'll activate the field spell, use that to get myself Caesar into rotation. So here we'll make our rock. Gonna tag out. Get the Pantera on the board to pop his back row. And it turns out it's a Called by the Grave, which will get rid of my Raisin, which actually does kind of matter here because it's not at all convenient for me to get over this Dogma while it has this protection effect. I need to get rid of the Ecclesia without putting her in graveyard. So we have to do a somewhat wasteful line here where we link off a bunch of our stuff into SP. Don't forget that Rock, of course, can't be used as link material. So that gets the Ecclesia out of there. Now I can reveal 3 to just pop the Dogma. That triggers his Aluber, but it doesn't really matter. Aluber, of course, is only 1 effect per turn, and I can't attack directly anyway because of the SP. So we'll just free up the whole field here, and that's all we can do. We don't have 2 different Vanquish Soul names, so we don't get to set the trap off of the field spell. But we still have the Halisu in hand, of course, and a live Caesar. So he's going to go Quem dump the new kit to revive Dogma. He's going to use the Dogma effect. I just decide to try and pop it right now with Caesar since it was a real hassle last time. And I make a big mistake here, actually. He sends the Ecclesia Synchro. I wasn't paying enough attention. I wasn't even thinking about the fact that it's an Ecclesia monster. It gives him the protection, so I should have popped Quem. But I tried to pop Dogma, and obviously that doesn't work. And that's going to cost me, because now he gets to use the Quem effect. So I'm going to quickly try and get my Sue out here. Quem gets him White Albaz. White Albaz effect is going to go off. I got to use the Sue now. He has an Ash, though, unfortunately. So I decided to take this opportunity to use Little Knight in response and get the Sue off the board. I'm just trying to protect her, basically, keep her safe in the banishment for the rest of this turn, because that's going to be the key to making sure that I still have plays if I get another turn here. So he gets out the Ecclesia. He's going to sync up into 3 champions, and 3 champions will add Cartesia. Then he can pop my field spell as well, which is actually quite the nuisance because that means I no longer have my protection. And he's going to bring out regular Albaz again, and he gets to eat my monster. So of course this is going to force out the rock. I'm just adding back from grave. Don't want to get rid of anything from my hand here because I don't think I'm dead yet, and I need this stuff to keep playing. But he's going to make an additional Dogma. He's got 2 of them. But I am not dead here. So that's the end of his turn there. This time, during the end phase, he doesn't actually get anything. The banished cards come back, and I can go ahead and start out with Sue here. We'll use that to get Borger from the deck. Borger, go ahead and draw a card. We'll also use the opportunity to summon our Jiaolong. Borger draws us another Halisu. Not really what we wanted to see, but it's alright. We can use the Jiaolong here to get another Caesar. Normal summon the Mad Love for Continue. And Continue is just going to get us an additional body here because we got to do something about these Dogmas. So this is where the Underworld Goddess comes up. Because one of them's in D mode there, we will be able to beat over it with any of our 3k guys. So Goddess comes down, is going to negate his field, tag out for Caesar. Caesar effect will reveal all 3 so that we can pop, get rid of the champions. Battle phase. At this point, my timer is really low. I'll make another mistake here. I could have used Underworld Goddess to negate, but I had like 20 seconds, and I was trying to make sure I didn't time out. So he manages to kind of get a free Aluber on the field. The negate didn't matter, of course, but I go ahead and Ash the Dogma effect here, and we get to stick down our Halisu on the board. Of course, he does still get to add back the Cartesia and the Ecclesia. He gets both of them, plus his random top deck. And I don't actually have an Earth in hand here. So the pop is not immediately live, which means that he's going to go ahead and use the Ecclesia. Here he goes for Golden. I reveal to summon Raisin from the deck. Raisin is going to fix the attributes for me. And he sinks into Ecclesia and the Dark Dragon. But because this card can summon from grave, I am allowed to Underworld negate. So I do that. He's going to bring out the Cartesia. And try to fuse. Obviously, I will just go ahead and use the Caesar effect here to pop that, and he'll only be left with one monster, which means he definitely cannot summon anything. End phase, nothing for him to add this time. And then I can just go Caesar, pop the back row. The Ecclesia effect is back online, of course, but so is the Underworld Goddess, so I just get to negate that again. And that's the duel. Absolute slobber knocker of a duel there. I actually really enjoy playing against Branded going first. Going second, it kind of sucks, but when they don't just get to go off unimpeded, leads to some pretty interesting game states. So here we are again against another Branded player with another kind of mediocre hand. Our only line here is just a high commitment normal summon, so I'll go ahead and do it. Ratpier. If you're normaling him, then you do want to go ahead and dump the barrage, because you don't want to draw it later off of like a random Borger draw. And maybe your opponent's stupid, maybe they use a hand trap on it. I've seen it happen. So we're just going to do the typical line here. But he does have an imperm, and he's smart. He uses it on the Broad Bowl effect. So, like I was talking about, though, this is where having the extra zoo name is helpful, because I won't get to search the Pantera, but I will still get to summon both rats. So we'll use the Borbo here to get a rat, and then we will use the Drident to get another rat. We're definitely not ending on Drident here. I'd rather have a UDF. UDF backed up by Max C, and the Rescue Ace Impulse effect is pretty tolerable here, I think. And, of course, we'll have guaranteed follow-up for turn 3. So the objective right now is to survive, like we're playing Halo Reach. All we got to do is make it to another turn, and we're actually in really good shape. So throw down the Maxi immediately. The opponent is going to start with a normal summon Aluber again, and once again I'm just shotgunning the negate, because I don't want him to get access to either a Branded Fusion or a High Spirits. Then the Ecclesia is going to come down. I'll be getting a couple draws here. Here's our chance to use the Impulse. So we'll bring out our Fire Attacker. Very eclectic board we've got going on here. Regular Albaz is going to come out, and then he'll go ahead and fuse off with the UDF. And he just goes for a simple Mirror Jade line here. Ends his turn there, doesn't want to give us any more draws. I'll start with Raisin. That'll get us into Sue, who's going to reveal to summon herself, and then I can steal his Mirror Jade here, which will force out the Banish. I'm totally fine with that, though. Of course, I have plenty of cards to continue with. So there goes Sue. Take the Mirror Jade. Jiaolong going to summon himself, and at this point he super polys me, which is actually pretty rough. Because, yet again, I'm left with no Vanquish Soul names on the field here, which means that I actually can't extend. So instead, we're just going to switch everything to attack here, do a little bit of damage. The Aluber will come back again to chump block a little bit. But we still get in for 3k. And then main phase 2, we're going to get rid of the Mirror Jade. Don't want that going back to him. Throw down our SP Little Knight, and we can use that to get rid of his Titaniclad. Make sure he doesn't get anything during the end phase from that, but he will still get the Ecclesia back. So we hard drew the trap, so we do actually still have some decent interruptions for him here. Ecclesia gonna pop out and bring out the White Albaz. White Albaz for regular Ecclesia. He's going to add Fallen and the Virtuous, and that will trigger my Fire Attacker. Get into a Holly Suit, very nice. He enters battle phase, and I wait to do that before I reveal the trap here. This will wipe out his board, and I use the summon effect to get Caesar. He's going to go FNV, target the Caesar. Of course, Caesar can simply reveal the Holly Sue that we drew into off of Fire Attacker, keep himself alive. But that will give him an additional trigger in the end phase. I go Sue here, but he has max C, so unfortunately there will be no summoning from deck to get like a Raisin or anything here. We'll just let him get the one draw, and that will be that. He sets another Fallen in the Virtuous, and once again the Ecclesia will return. But back over to me here, we're in a pretty good position. He can go Fallen in the Virtuous to force out the Holly Sue now. But I don't really care about that. Sue doesn't need to stick around on field after this. So we just throw down the Raisin, and of course we've already got enough damage to kill him here. He has a few things left to do here, but I can Called By to check the Rinbrum, and that will tie it up there. Put a bow on it. Another nice Duel versus Branded. And the last replay here I have is a bit more comedic in nature. After those two very drawn-out, high brain power Duels versus Branded, how about something a little bit much stupider? So here we are with a very, very good hand, actually. But unfortunately, when I go for Barrage, he has a Fulos. The Zoo line, of course, gives the opponent so many draws off of the Fulos, because you're summoning the rats from deck and you're going to the extra deck. But this was one of those situations where I was like, you know, I'm just in the mood to play some Yu-Gi-Oh!, so I don't really care. He's got the second Fulos even, but, you know, why not? We'll just fully play into it. I'm just going to set up my board and just, you know, just see what happens. So I'm just going to go straight into the usual line. You can see he's drawing an absurd amount of cards. And it's far from over. He's going to have so many more. He ashes the effect to get the Pantera Search. So we won't be able to do that, but we will still get our Dempsey. And then we're going to be able to establish our UDF, which very notably, of course, does not stop Nibiru because it isn't an on-field monster effect. He also has Imperm for the Dempsey. Very annoyingly, Dempsey does have an effect that prevents battling boxes from being targeted, but, you know, even though it's like a quick effect here, the other effect happens on summon, so it's impossible to get the protection before you try to search. It's very silly. Anyway, we'll go ahead and make our UDF. There he is. And now I'm going to Rhoda, get our Raisin out. He's got a Droll, which this would stop him from drawing, but I don't actually care. I'm just trying to play into it at this point. Also, I don't know why was I saying this guy can only negate a thing on the field? He steals the things on the field, but he can definitely negate things in hand. I don't know what I was talking about. Whatever. This is right after that long Branded duel. I guess I've been brain drained. Anyway, Raisin effect, add Caesar. We can reveal the Impulse. Oh yeah, another nice thing I didn't mention about Impulse, by the way, is that he's also a Fire Warrior, which means that you can add him with the Dempsey if you already have Raisin access, which is kind of neat. It's free advantage, if nothing else, and fire reveals if you need them. Now we're going to go Sue here, summon from deck again, give him a few more Fulos draws. Borger draw a card. And we'll pass turn here with this field versus 24 cards, which is actually enough to trigger the Fulo Shuffle condition. When was the last time you saw that? Something rarely seen. So he'll shuffle all the way down to 15 cards, because this is a huge field I have. In the draw phase, we're just going to go Jiaolong, but he ashes that. Whatever, I guess. I mean, does it even matter what he's spending the ash on here? I'm going to use Borger. Like, yeah, theoretically, he could have ashed, like, Sue to summon, but my field is full anyway, so whatever. He is going to Lava Golem me. I could have shotgunned the Max C, but I was like, maybe I want the Earth in hand, you know, let's see what he does first. I was not prepared for a first action Lava Golem. The opponent is on an Exodia deck, so maybe they could have drawn the whole Exodia while we were feeding them all those cards. That would have been funny. Instead, he's probably just bricked on a few pieces, so I'll go ahead and Max C now that he's summoning stuff. He adds the Gaia dude, and then he's going to go into his Ankh. We can see that he did draw some of the pieces. Summons out the Unstoppable Exodia. I draw an Ash. He's going to draw again. And then he goes Battle Phase, activates Snow Devil here, just purely to bait him. And wouldn't you know it, he takes the bait, hook, line, and sinker. I just get the Chain Imperm now. Negate the Exodia, which means that, of course, it loses its attack boosting. And he's just gonna really stupid duel. Anyway, there you go. That's the deck. I do think that this is actually a very good way to play Vanquish Soul if you don't want to do canine stuff, which I really don't. It's a lot of fun to get to play with these cards again and do something that is a little bit more healthy than just some sort of outrageous wombo combo like they were doing back in the day. I love the cute little synergies of being able to search the Pantera and free the main monster zones to summon her out. Very, very cool. But that's all I've got for now. So I will be back next time with another fun deck, and until then, peace.